Okay, so we are going to discuss about what is JSP. Okay, and JSP is extension of or extended version of servlet, where servlet is actually a Java class, right? And because why this servlet becomes famous? Because just by having Java class, it also gives us the option to write HTML text. So that gives its you can say a space where it gets popular. It was really famous at that time when they released this technology. Okay, but they decided, okay, servlet is for we can use this servlet as a controller or a where things goes at first end, where uh, things get started from the flow side. So they said, okay, we can use servlet as a kind of a backend stuff. Okay, okay, it can be used as for backend purpose. But what about front end? If I have to show some UI page, although it's possible that you can write a code and a servlet can be used as a UI. You're not going to write any Java code, any Java function or methods, just plain HTML text, lots of HTML, CSS, or yeah, you can also write some JavaScript as well. But that will kill the purpose. Why you are using .java file to show your UI contents? So they decided, okay, we will give a feature. We will call that JSP. So when they evolved with this thing, the full form was uh, Java Server Page. It was just for UI purpose. That's it. No other purpose. If you want to show some welcome page, some data you want to pop up to the user, some table structure, just give an example. So that can be possible with JSPs. Okay, so initially when they developed this, they called this Java Server Page. Later on, some other organization took over. They call this Jakarta Server Page. Okay, that's so nowadays if someone asks you the full form of JSP, you can say Jakarta Server Pages. So formerly it was JSP, I mean Java Server Pages. Now it is known as Jakarta Server Pages. So if we talk about, because it's a file, so what will be the extension of it? So it goes with JSP. You can also save it with JSPX as well, the extensions. So JSP, I'll put a comma, JSPX. One more is there, I missed that. There's one more extension. And remember we talked about MIME type. So by default, its MIME type is application/JSP. Okay, even I can show you its what you call that um, wiki page. Okay. So JSP wiki page, the Wikipedia page. It's not JSPL, JSP. Jakarta Server Pages. It's pages, not page. It's pages. Yeah. So Jakarta Server Pages, JSP formerly Java Server Pages. It's a collection of technologies that helps software developers, the guys like us, create dynamically generated web pages based on HTML, XML, and SOAP. It's a web service technology, SOAP. Nowadays, nobody use SOAP or other documentation type. So released in 1990, guys. You can see the how old technology is. 1990. It was released by whom? The Sun Microsystem, the the company who developed Java language. So JSP is similar to PHP and ASP if you guys have learned, but uses Java programming language. To deploy and run Jakarta server pages, a compatible web server would be a servlet container such as Apache, Tomcat, or Jetty. This looks good. I can take this for my documentation. Okay, so Jakarta server pages. Okay, nice. That puts the inner boxes. JSP and here goes the details about it. Okay, what else? Yeah, there it is. JSP. Yeah, JSPF. That's one more full form. JSPF, and its internal media type or MIME type is this application JSP, and developed by Eclipse Foundation. Yeah, same Eclipse we are using. Okay, so 26 years ago it was developed, and latest release you can see still it is in product. I mean in production. So April 1924, the latest release was happened on that day. So this is legacy way to write JSP web page, and this is its architecture, high level picture, how things looks like when you are working with JSP pages. So typically we have a web browser. Web browser sends request from a servlet or a filter. We call that controller. That controller calls a JSP page. If required, it interacts with Java beans, which goes to database. To and fro, data gets transferred and it goes to Java beans. And when we have a full response, it goes back to JSP page and then JSP to web browser. So that's how cycle goes. So from left side, it goes to servlet controller, then JSP if required, and if it is not, so it goes to here as well. Then JSP requests data from model and so on. That's how a typical web flow works out. So I'm not going to explain it much detail because we are not supposed to learn that this in that extent. So this much is enough. And anything else we can pick from here? Yeah, the syntax wise is fine. Okay, we can now move forward to next point. So we have a rough picture what JSP is. It is all about web pages. So one more thing I want to highlight here when we talk about servlet. I already wrote it above. Let's let it back again. Servlet is actually a combination of Java plus HTML tags. We already know this thing. But when we say JSP, it is like HTML plus Java. So you can see initially I'm writing the main part from where things get started, and then you can also embed Java code. So that's how JSP stands alone with other web technology at that time in 90s. So this is the key thing. In JSP you can write HTML plus Java coding. Okay, great. Now we can move forward with how it is allowed, like how it can say that we can have that Java coding. So basically JSP is all about tags, tags tags. Like in HTML we have tags, same way JSP has its own unit tags to work around with it. Let's start the service. So we can work on the same project. Okay, before that we have to understand tags. So JSP is tags, as I said. So we have to write tags, you have to learn those tag names and the syntax, how it works. Let me close that. Just a second, guys. Okay. Fine. So JSP is all about tags. So yeah, if you know tags, that means you can easily work on JSP files, or you can write code in JSP files. So basic tags, we have, as I said, multiple tags are there. So we will see first of all the basic tags of JSPs. So when we talk about basic tags, so it has three types of tags. Starts with declaration tag. So when we talk about declaration tag, it goes like angular bracket, where everything is bold. Okay. So declaration tag, angular bracket, percentile, and exclamation sign. And here you can say quote. Then again, same way, you don't have to write exclamation sign again, just percentile sign and closing bracket. So that's how we write declaration tag. Next tag is scriptlet, scriptlet, scriptlet tag. How do you write? Angular bracket, percentile, same code goes here, and then it ends with again same format, percentile and angle bracket. So you can see the difference. It has exclamatory sign initially. It doesn't have. That's how you can distinguish. Okay, that's the tag. Third tag is expression tag. So we have just three tags here. Expression tag. How to use this expression tag? Again, angle bracket, percentile, and this time we have to use equal sign. And again, code goes here, this way, this, and this. Okay, so these are three basic tags in JSPs. So what's the purpose of declaration tag? As the name says, for declaration, it is used to declare variables. Same Java variables we're talking about. If you want to declare any variable, a Java variable, you can use declaration tag. Change the size of this, it becomes 14. Okay, better now. Okay. Scripted tag, what we do here, we write like general code. For general Java code, we use this. So basically everything you can think of, you have to write in Java, it goes here. Okay, and expression is for printing purpose. If you want to print something, you can print it, or printing or output, that way, for printing or output purpose. Okay, so that's the usage of these three tags. So let's use them quickly in our JSP file. So we're going to Eclipse. Again, these pages you cannot run them browser directly. These pages needs server, like Apache Tomcat. Okay, so where we create these files? Inside web app, because it's a server page. So parallel to your HTML file, you can also create that. So right click on web app, new, and we can see we have option of JSP file as well. So click on that. Let's call basic tags.jsp. So it ends with .jsp, and you can see as soon as I create it, it has the same syntax of HTML file, except one big difference. If you see the line number 1, it has something which is not present, or you cannot find that in HTML files. This angle bracket percentile. So as soon as you see this kind of syntax, you can guess it's actually a tag, but that might come later if I'll see it is required. But yeah, this is one of the tag which you can see at top of your JSP file, and rest of the code is simple plain HTML tags, basic tags, HTML, head, meta, title, and stuffs. Okay, done. So we have this thing ready. Now we can start working with the tags. So inside body tag of HTML, we can write the stuffs. So first thing is declaration tag. So angle bracket, percentile sign, and this sign. Here you can write variables. So I'm going to write a really ultra simple thing where in Java we tend to write something like this. Let me explain what I'm going to write in JSP, so you will have a better picture. So in Java we tend to write int x, that is declaration. Then later I can say x equals to, let's say 5, that is initialization, and then I can say print x, that's printing, right? So something similar we will do here as well. So this is declaration, this is for initialization, and then we'll print it. So this goes as a expression. That's how we express the variable. So same thing I will do in these three different tags. So here I will simply say int x done. Okay, so what we just did, we used declaration tag to declare one Java variable, and of course you are free to use HTML tag as well. So I'll say basic tags of nice, not tags, JSP. Okay, so this is done. Let me give it a format again. So things will be pretty clear what we're up to. Okay, I won't format again. Next tag is scripted tag. Here I will assign some value to it. So x equals to 5. Okay, so we just assigned it. Next step, I want to express, I want to print that stuff. So you will use expression text. So angular bracket, percentile and equal sign. Here, I'll simply say X. Done. That's it. So our code is ready. Let's call this page from our index page. So we have multiple hyperlinks. Let's add one more. This will be basic text.jsp. Let's call this same thing, basic text of JSP. File saved. Let's run the code. Run on server. Select the server. Next. Finish. Okay, page is loaded. And refresh. There we go. We have basic text of JSP. And if I click, it prints basic text of JSP, and I can see 5 gets printed. And it's because we have printed 5. But it doesn't make any sense. The 5 is not making any sense. So we can also print some message. So I can say value of X is this. So if I go back and refresh, there we go. So value of X is 5. So that's how we can use basic text of JSP. Okay, so working fine. That's great. Now, apart from the basic tags, we have one more important thing in JSP, which is known as implicit objects, apart from these tags. So I should also count that here. For that, let's add this much code on print. This is basic tag, and here we have the output. Okay, so things goes here. This is our code text stuff. Okay, fine. So I was talking about implicit objects. So that's the critical thing, and by using implicit objects, we use lots of features of it. So implicit objects. Implicit object means something which is already present in your server, and you just have to use it. So on the same concept, we have almost 9 implicit objects. I will write just most of the or mostly used text. One is out, or even I'll start with request. In servlet, we have to use these coming from the argument. To get, to post provides these request and response. Here we get them implicitly. So like request, we have response, then out. So these are the mostly used implicit objects. Apart from these, we have session and application as per the usage. If you want to maintain session of the user, you can use session or application. If you want to handle any exception, so we have exception object, exception object. And then 7th is when we are dealing with some local attributes. So we have page and page context. The last one from this list is like object, so page context CKS capital configuration config. So that's how I have learned these objects. So starting with the basic things, request, response, and printing the output, then user session by using session or using application object. If you have code, definitely you need a exception handling mechanism, so that is exception keyword is there or object is there to maintain user level user detail at page level. So we have page and page context, and at configure for if you want to configure something, so config object is here. So all these objects are present in JSP by default. Who provides them? The server. So implicit object means built in objects. You don't have to create them by yourself. They will be there for you. And who provides them? That Apache Tomcat. Okay, or we also call this our web content. Okay, again these are same thing. Sometimes people call this the Tomcat, the server, sometimes web container. So I'm using all the terms: Apache Tomcat, web container, or simply server. Server is just a more generic term people tend to use. Okay, so we are done with basic tags. Great. We have at least list of implicit object names. Fine, let's put them in a box. Now we are talking about some more basic tags. I mean, not basic. We call them directives. So we're done with basic tags. It's done. Next tags are in this list is directive tags. So we have three directive tags in our JSP page. First is page directive. Second is include. This include is similar what we saw in servlet, that request dispatcher, include and forward. Same is here, page and include. And next one is taglib. So these are the three directive tags present in JSP file. Okay, so let's talk about them one by one. So basic tags are done. Then directive tags. Okay. Okay, so we'll start with uh, page directive first, like how you can see or where you can use this thing. So we're talking about page directive. Okay, so when we talk about page directive, so you don't have to do much. You can switch over to the JSP file and there it is, page directive. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention, how uh, the directive tag looks like, how you can identify how it is different from your basic text. So the syntax for it, how you can uniquely identify syntax for it is, it goes in percentile, then sorry, from angle bracket, then percentile, and then at sign. Then whatever comes up, tag close. So that's how you can say, okay, that is a directive tag because it has at sign in between. So that's how it is different from basic text, because that was just using angle bracket and percentile. But if any tag starts with angle bracket, percentile, and at sign, so that's a directive tag. So if we talk about directive tag, you can see there it is. I can paste the name. So let me type it. Percentile, at, and page, and then some key and value goes up. And this key value is nothing but just a attribute of the tag. So if you see the list, let me put this in this way. So first key value or the attribute is language, second one is content type, third one is page encoding. If I have to show a list, you can see we have some more keywords. I'm just listing them out, not required at all definitely, but you can always see it by using. So I'm just pressing Control space and things are coming up. Page is thread safe session. So these are the possible key value or attributes of directive page active tags. Okay, so this is a list of directive page attributes. Okay, that's fine. So we will see how we can use them. But for now, let's see the other things. Um, we already saw, see, we don't have to do much on page directive. We just a list of that part. Second tag is include. So page directive is all about page. If you want to work on certain page features or conditions, you can use them. And if you see here, even one feature says language. By default, it is Java, but yeah, JSP allows if you want to use some other language, that can be possible. But yeah, for that, accordingly, you have to configure the compiler and browser for it, and definitely the server who can read the content. So you have to configure it, only then you can change the language. Likewise, you can mention the buffer size of the current page. By default, it is 8 KB. You can definitely increase the size if this page is rendering some more data like PDF generation or some huge table is coming up in the form. Maybe the data is in millions, let's suppose. So definitely you have to increase the buffer size accordingly. And definitely you cannot just randomly type anything. It should match with the language where the language barriers and the stuffs like server configuration, where it is deployed, the hardware systems, everything is matter. Then only you can increase the buffer size. Then there's one thing which says is EL ignored. EL for expression language. JSP allows expression language as well. So if you want that this page should not render any expression language, so you can make it true. So it will ignore those expression language and print them as it is in a plain text. They won't get rendered. Session, you can maintain the session as well by using this. And of course, by using is thread safe, if multiple threads or multiple or concurrent requests are coming to this JSP file, you can also block it by making it is thread safe or not. So it will work accordingly. So this tag, this page directive tag is all about the current page. It won't affect the project or other files in the project, just the current page it will impact. So nothing much explained to here, so I'll just leave it as it is. Next is include tag. For this we can write example because it says include. So include means you can include other page response, so that can be possible. How it goes, angle bracket, percentile sign, at sign. Yeah, this is directive tag. Then I can write include. And one of the attribute for this include tag is I forgot the name. Let's verify here. So this percentile at sign include, I think it's page or something. File. Okay, it's file. So you have to give a file, that which file you want to include in the current page. It works similar like we saw in request dispatcher, and give some xyz.html JSP, and that file got included. So we can use this here. Okay, so that's how you can use include tag. Third, I'll write that example in a minute. Let's complete this screen. Next one is taglib. This is for external libraries. If you think that your page is going to use some third party, not taglib, third party libraries, so you can use taglib. So it will do what? It will include the external libraries. External to current page. Okay, so if you want to do that, you can use taglib. So syntax is quite amazing here. So angle bracket, percentile sign, then add sign, then write taglib. Then if you press Control space, so prefix, you have to give a variable reference like that way. Then tag directory, then URI. Yep, that's it. So these are things you needed to work with taglibs. So this is required when you are doing some advanced level coding in JSP. Otherwise, it's fine. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, let me give a space for these tags. Okay, and here it goes. Okay, fine. So we are done with the list of tags. Let's use the page directive is again for this current page. We are not doing much on it. It will just impact the current page working. So that is fine. Next is include. So we can definitely see the example. Taglib is for advanced level programming. So we are not supposed to do that much coding. So we will skip taglib as well. So let's see the at least the include one. So we can do okay. So what we will do here, let's first of all remove extra stuffs from here. Okay. Now in we already have a page HTML, right? So let's use this one. So here on the basic tag, after printing this, I'll print one HR tag, and then I will write that directive tag. So angle bracket, percentile, at sign, and write include. Come on, and I'll write file and the page name. So it is page2.html. That's it. Since we are doing everything on web page, we don't need to restart the server. We can just go back to the web page and reload. There we are. This data from page2.html is coming from this page. There it is, data from page2. So that's how you can include the response of other page into your current page by using directive. So in servlet, we are required to use request dispatcher. In JSP, we can directly use a tag. So that's the beauty of implicit objects or tags. You don't have to create objects. You can see we are not creating any object or something, anything. In servlet, we tend to do that. Let me show you again what we did to include contents. We wrote this code, include this one. So initially we need to call the object, and on that object we have to call include and pass request response as an argument or as an parameter. But here in JSP, kind of clean code, just use the tag and it will be done. Okay, so let me pick this code from here, body tag. Let's get a new paint. So this is what we wrote and save it. Okay, so we wrote this thing in this file, and okay, this goes here. So first one is JSP page, basic text.jsp. Then next one is page2.html. Done, and this is the final output. And you can even see the URL. URL gives you the page where you have requested or what you have requested. So we requested basic text, so that's the JSP file. It won't show which page is included. That is only visible when you are inside the code. Okay, so this is example for include directive tag. Okay. Okay, so this tag is also done. Now what else we can do on JSP? We have done inclusion part. We can also do some kind of, you know, same coding like we did in servlet, calling some page and creation of login page. Let me show you that as well. So we have home page or something. Where it is, good, register. Yeah. So we have this thing we can do what? Let's create one login page quickly. Login.jsp. So new JSP file. It's going to be login. So login.jsp. Let me quickly create a hyperlink for this. So now we have decent understanding of JSP. It works or deals in JSP file. So see, login page. Okay, and simple page will go right. So it going. It can have the same code like we did in HTML page. So action. I'll create one servlet login, and I will use method post type because I don't want to expose my username and password on URL at least. Okay, and going to create one servlet. So and right click on the previous package. Sorry, my bad, not package. New servlet. Call this login. Doesn't matter what you're calling it, always end it with login servlet. Next, next. No need of constructor. I will need it to post. So this time I'll uncheck do get and finish it. So we have this auto-generated code. Remove this, not needed. Remove this and this as well. Okay, done. Let's register this in web XML file. So we are going to actually create a login page, basically login functionality we are going to implement. If you guys are still wondering what I'm up to, but we are using this time JSP file. So login, a unique name. It could be anything XYZ. I'm calling it with the same name, servlet. I'll call this just login. Again, it's unique. I'll use this login servlet name, paste here, and this goes here. That's my package name. Okay, it becomes hyperlink after holding control button. Okay, great. Okay, so JSP says login. It goes here. Let's verify on register page. We just not use endpoint. We also kept that project name. So on JSP, I'll keep that. Okay, now it is good. And now going to create some input type. Nice. Input type, then text, placeholder. I'll say enter. I'm not sure what was the other fields. Let's use MySQL Workbench. So in user, we had name and age. Okay, we don't have password column. So let's just verify with the email. Okay, I'm going to give the email and accordingly to verify whether user is present or not. Or let's create one column right away. It will not take much time. But I forgot where two columns. Alter table. There's the column. Yes, that's how we use the UI password, varchar, and apply, finish, apply, and close. Never forget to close this box. And close all. Let's do this page again. Okay, so I'll give 123 as a password. And next password is for 456 for the user. Apply, finish. Okay, so we have entries now. Now we can use the name and the password. Fine. So enter name, and then I will use beer tag. Oops. Beer tag one. Beer tag 2 times. Copy it. Next would be enter password. I forgot one important part. After giving name, always give the name here because this is going to be used later. So I'll say user name here, password. Okay, so this is done. Next, the submit button. So I want to use a button of type submit. and it will be login. Fine, so page is ready, kind of. Let's go to login servlet. So we already have a util file which gives the database connection. So let's start with try block right away because I know it's going to be used further. And the first thing is I will create instance of, not instance, just call this MySQL db, then dot, and I'll say get or give me the MySQL connection. Okay, so it will give me that MySQL connection right here. Connection is ready. Now we'll say connection, connection dot, let me guide you again what we did in JSP, or not in servlet, sorry. So once we have connection, we are not going to use statement again because we have used statement 2 times, and in DBCPA we used statements only. So that's why I'm showing you we are not going to use statement. We are going to use the prepare statement. Why? Because it gives the option to give placeholders. Okay, so to do that, we are going to use the prepare statement. So going back to login servlet page, here we will say connection dot prepare statement. There it is. And here we will write that SQL query. This time it will be select query. Select star from user where name equals to something and password equals to something. That's a SQL query to fetch records. So if I just copy this name, goes back to database, and let me fetch the first record. So password will be 123 and name would be Ram. So if I execute this code, you can see the query. So it clearly says the RAM details. So this is the idea when we search this code. This is the SQL query. So it is done, written here, fine, and then it gives you prepare statement. I'll say PS. Okay, done, and PS equals. Then I'll say PS dot execute query. So this gives you result set. I'll call this RS. Okay, and I can verify if rs dot next. That means if it has a data, I can do one thing before printing because we know how to print. So I'll say first of all request dot get output, no, not output, get writer. Why it is not coming? Ah, my bad, not request, it's response. Response dot get writer. It gives me print writer object, print writer. I'll call this IOUT, and that's the reason why I'm calling IOUT, because it is the same object which is used in JSP files. So I'm keeping it simple. So out dot print. Not here. We will print here. User logged in. And if user logged in, now I'm going to use that request dispatcher code here. So if it happens, request dispatcher rd equals and request that r small request dot one request dot get request, my bad, it's response picked up, request dot get request dispatcher. So if it happens, then include, this time I'm going to include register page. If it is successful, I will load register page to get the next user, and then I'll say rd dot include, same request and response. Just after it says user logged in, I will allow the user to register one more user, and it goes in out.println, or I can actually copy this and print here, or directly this way. Okay, that's symbol tag. Okay, and else if it goes wrong, so copy this again like we did yesterday. So we include the same page. Same page means login.jsp, and will give that message. I can copy that line, this line. We need to modify the message, or something went wrong. I'll say invalid credentials. Invalid credentials, try again, and then we will load that login to JSP again for this user. And if something goes wrong so badly, so we can print the status. You can see we have written the login code. This time it will verify whether that user is present or not. Okay, let's see how it comes up since we did some changes in XML file. So make sure server should go down first always, and we have a red error. What is that? Semicolon is missed. Fine, error goes away. Let's run the code, run on server, pick the server, next, finish. Oops. Okay, so that's the server, loads, login page. That's the user, that's how it looks like. So we have used placeholder. So the purpose of placeholder is if it is there, it can show you what you have to enter here. So what I mentioned, enter name and enter password. So when you click on this, that will go away. When you click start writing something. So I know username is Ram. There's a name. That password is 123. So right now I'm giving the correct credentials. So login, and something happened. I don't know what happened. We have an error. Let's see what goes wrong here. Yep, I forgot. At runtime, I gave the placeholder but forgot to fill them. I can recall it. I never even fetched the request or types here, the placeholders. So let's do that. After this, I need to say string user and fetch the placeholders or parameters. Get parameter. First one is user, password. And then we can use this here because we have used placeholders here. So we can say ps dot set string index 1. First placeholder is for name, so I'll say user. Next ps dot set string, it's for second placeholder, that's the password. Okay, file saved. Let's stop the server. Okay, it is done. Let's run the code again. Right click, run as, run on server. Next, finish. Oops, forgot to select the server. Run as server, select the server, next, and finish. And now we have a login page. Login page. Let's close other tabs. Close other tabs. Giving correct credentials. The password. Oops, you can see I can see my password, which is not a great idea, right? It's not ideal situation. So we can do what? We can make this password type. So not text. For password, there's a type password. So you will see the dots instead of actual text. So reload RAM, and this time see you cannot read the password. So 1 2 3, click login, and yeah, it says user logged in. It is correct, but again we forgot to mention that we are expecting HTML as well. So we have to say response dot set content type text or HTML. Okay, but yeah, it's working. If I go back, I can see we have record. So let's reload the server, and there we go. User logged in, and this is the register page. And since we don't have any message on the register page, it looks like register HTML. Okay, yep, it's not here. So I can say h1 register page. Okay, if I go back to web page, reload. There it is. If user logged in, I can register one more user. Let's say I want to use, say, Sam, age, some 22, some random password, email. We don't have a text field, I forgot, but that's fine. It is working fine. I can set by my own. Let's say admin is doing it. So highlight the query and highlight execute. That's the same. Let's say 789. That's the password. Apply, apply, finish. Okay. Now if I go back to the web page, login page, SAM 789, login. Yep, user logged in. What if I give wrong credentials, right? That's also a case. Wrong password. Login, and yeah, invalid credentials. Try again, and we are reloading the same login page again. Okay, so that's how we can use JSPs and Servlet, guys. Try your best, and I hope you are still working on uh, the remaining pages. I have just created a register and login page. You guys can continue with other pages. If you are interested in studying, go forward it and try your own. So that's about today. In next class, we will start learning Hibernate, the database framework. So that will be all about database. So then we can continue that.